Hey guys, we're Jacob and Sarah Graham, and wanted definitely to take the opportunity to send in a video since we can't be there in person. Really sorry that we couldn't be there in person, but we want to celebrate Anthony. We really want to testify just of how Anthony and Kathy impacted our lives.
Yeah.
So we lived in Kentucky from 2008 through 2015, and almost all those years, the Steffens lived in northern Kentucky with us. And man, Anthony was one of the most generous people I've ever met in my life. And here's a story to illustrate that. I worked for him for a period of time, for a couple of years actually. So I worked pretty closely with him. We were flipping houses. I was basically his grunt labor. But it was really great to work for him. It was actually one of the best jobs, honestly, outside of ministry that I do now. It was the best, just regular working job I ever had. So when I was with him flipping houses, one of the things that he always made a point to do is that I got to pull all the metal out of the house. So I remember getting truckloads of scrap iron and brass and copper and things like that, and he just gave it to me, and I got to go scrap it and made extra money that way. And then a story in particular that stands out to me is that we went down to someplace down south, Independence or something like that, and we needed to put in a block sidewalk. And I don't know if the weather wasn't good or we couldn't do what we wanted to do, but we were down there for like an hour. And not only did he give me like multiple Gatorades, but he gave me $100 cash for coming down there and helping him out. And that was way more than he needed to give for that job. And he did it on purpose. And he did it to be generous, and he did it to bless us. And he did it because he believed that God had blessed him in his life. And I carry that with me now. When I have opportunities to bless people, the first person that I think of is Anthony.
Yeah.
Because he went way above and beyond in that way, and made a huge impact in my life, made a huge difference to me. And I try to do the same thing now when I have opportunities to be generous. So for sure, the legacy that Anthony left in my life is being passed on. We live in Colorado now, so it's even being passed on here. That's true.
Yeah.
When Sarah and I first moved to Kentucky, we moved a long ways from home. We were first newly married, and Anthony and Kathy were some of our best friends in Kentucky. They really made us feel at home. I feel like in some ways they adopted us into their family. And man, we just felt really befriended and really loved and really cared about from these two. I learned a lot from Anthony. I learned a lot about handyman type stuff from Anthony. I killed my first deer on property that Anthony allowed me to hunt on. Just so generous, and our time in Kentucky would not have been the same without Anthony and Kathy. Not only for the things that they did for us, but for their friendship. We considered them, and still do consider Kathy, a really good friend, and they impacted our life tremendously. So we just wanted to say thank you. Anthony's life is truly worth celebrating. It was cut way too short, in my opinion. However, he is celebrating in heaven right now, and we are firmly persuaded that we will be able to celebrate with him one day, so that this is really a celebration.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy, and just for inviting us into your family when we lived out in Kentucky. You and Anthony had us over to your house for holidays and meals, and you really treated us like family, which we really needed since we didn't have our own family out there. So thank you so much. We love you, Kathy, and we just really love and we remember Anthony, and we wish we could be there with you all. I hope you guys have a blessed celebration of Anthony. Bye, guys.
Bye.